The Doll Spa. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the Doll Spa. And for our first cast, they're looking rough. So basically, I'm fixing up your dolls. Yes, you. Hi, I love you. 4 dolls stand before me, and each has their own very individual story. We have some Monster High. We have a Myscene doll that's showing a little bit too much tit, and I definitely have my work set up for me. But if this is your first time watching my channel, hi, my name is Jay, and I do doll stuff. Duh. And I'd love you guys to join the channel because we're almost at 1 million subscribers. Oh my god. But before we get started, let me roll my intro, and we can get into this.
No. Hi, gay.
So this is Swim Class Draculaura, well, some sort of it, and this doll belongs to Meadow. The doll has very, very matted hair that may just be fixable. Looking at the doll stock photo, it's different. Hair aside, the doll has Sharpie standing under her eyes, in her ears. Rather than fangs, she has some brown crud in her lips, which I don't know what that is. She also has on a Sharpie bra that goes from the front and back, and obviously this vampire sunbathes a lot because her back is yellow. I definitely have a lot of work to do with her, but let's look at the next client. This is Sweet Scream Frankie that belongs to Joseph. Comparing her to Draculaura, she doesn't look that bad. She just needs her hair slicked and her hairstyle back, and she'll be good as new. Next, we have this Madison doll from the Myscene collection. This is what she looked like before, and here she is now. This doll belongs to Andres, and yeah, the doll definitely needs a reroute. She was able to put it into a bun, but other than that, the hair is barely there. So she'll be getting a new head of hair.
Oh my god.
I know what you're thinking. Yes, this is that expensive Frankie doll. This doll belongs to Mason, and the legs did fall off of their Comic-Con doll. So I'm gonna reattach the legs and also do the hair. It surprisingly isn't that gluey, so we're gonna have a really easy hair wash with this one. And guys, that is our cast for today's Doll Spa episode. I have my work cut out for me, of course, but it's gonna be so fun to restore your dolls. So let's start doing it, shall we? I'm gonna be using dish soap because obviously gotta clean these dolls. They're very, very dirty. I'm also gonna be using some conditioner. This will help smooth out any knots and tangles. Baking soda because this is gonna help really clean the doll's body.
With a toothbrush.
A variety of brushes and combs because, yeah. So with all that bullshit out of the way, let's start washing these dolls. So since Madison's not getting a hair wash, I'm just gonna wash her body real quickly so we can get that out of the way.
Stop this madness.
This is Andreas' first Myscene doll. He got it in 2017. At the time, he didn't really know how to do doll hair. He does now, of course. But no matter what he did, her hair kept shedding and he had to put it in a bun. She's very sentimental to him, so I really want to do a good job on this doll and make her just brand new. And of course, you'll see what I do to her later on in the video, but this is just her washing portion. As for this Draculaura, she needs more than a wash. She needs Jesus. Her parting is like really, really matted, so I'm gonna have to find that. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this is Meadow's first Monster High doll. And I'd definitely say she got well played with. And when it came to washing this doll, I really wanted to see if all of the surface stains would like be a washable marker, but they in fact were a permanent marker because no matter how hard I scrubbed, the bra was not coming off, nor was the crud in her lips. All in all, I knew I had my work cut out for me with this doll because she just had so much wrong with her. But at least now she feels a lot cleaner than she did prior. Next, we're moving on to Sweet Scream's Frankie. Now this doll has really matted hair, even though it doesn't look as bad on camera. I made sure to find the parting before I did anything with the hair because, you know, this is very important once the bun's up. Now this doll belongs to Joseph, and the story of this doll is Joseph had always loved Monster High since the original generation. But due to his living conditions during the time when Monster High originally came out due to his homophobic stepdad, he was not really allowed to get any kind of dolls or show any kind of femininity. That all was able to change in 2016 when the stepdad moved out, thank God. Joseph eventually came out to his mom in 2017, and then he mentioned to his mom how he always wanted to get into Monster High dolls, and she surprised him with this little Frankie right here. Now the doll came just as is. The hair is matted and it doesn't have any of its accessories, but we're gonna hook this Frankie up today and we're gonna make her look just like new. Now this last doll we're gonna be working on is the Comic-Con doll, and I'm honestly really petrified to work on this doll because I don't want to wipe the face off by accident. From close inspection, I can see that the stitches are already kind of rubbing off, and some of the stitches on the legs are as well. So with this Frankie, I'm gonna take my time and patience so I do not mess this up. Mason got this doll in 2010 when she came out for Christmas. His sister had saved up a lot of money to go to Comic-Con and got to pick this up for him at the con. But of course, because this is an original Monster High doll, they used to use elastic to keep the legs on, and eventually that elastic does snap if you play with it, and obviously if you're a child, you're going to play with your Monster High doll. So one thing led to another and the legs popped off, and of course that means that the toy is now considerably broken, so it goes to the bottom of the bin and forgotten for a few years. Now with this Frankie, I'm avoiding getting the water on the face in general. I didn't even wash the face because it was pretty clean, and I don't want to scratch up the face paint because that also chips on original Monster High dolls because they weren't sealed properly. And don't worry, I did wash the legs, I just did them separately. The next step is pretty optional, but I want my dolls to feel really clean. So I'm doing this thing I saw on 1,000 Splendid Dolls. They're an iconic channel you should subscribe to. Where you just mix some baking soda and some water until it makes a paste, and you just scrub it over the dolls' bodies and faces so it makes them feel a lot cleaner and brand new. And it actually does make them feel super clean, especially like the rubber Barbie legs. Like they feel less dirty. And after you just rinse it off and it's all good to go. Now we're going to move on to conditioner. This is like my favorite part of doll restorations. If you've been watching my channel for a while, it's the smooth out. It's whenever we brush the hair in general, actually. Now I'm starting with Draculaura because she has the worst matted hair out of the bunch. So I'm starting from the ends and working my way up. This doll does have 2 hair types. If you're unfamiliar with the hair types, let me educate you. So this doll in particular has 2 hair types. She has Kanekalon and Saran. I actually thought it was going to be full Kanekalon, but I was wrong. Kanekalon is like a very fluffy fiber and it does break really easily. So you got to be careful when you're brushing it out, which is why this doll took me 40 years to brush out. Saran hair is what you typically get on Monster High dolls, and it isn't that bad to brush out, to be honest. This mixture usually just feels really bad, but after maybe 20 minutes, this is what she looked like. Moving on to this Frankie right here, I brought out my brush so I can really get out the detangles. I should have done this with Draculaura, but you know, we're not smart on this channel, okay? Now with this Frankie, it's one of those situations like no matter how much I brush, it's always gonna feel weird after it dried. So like the hair is like really broken, and you know, there's no really way to fix it other than maybe flat iron it, but I'm not flat ironing dolls with Saran hair. I don't trust myself, I'm sorry. And while washing it, I obviously noticed there was some cut pieces in the front, lovely, but I know we'll survive. Moving on to the black and white Frankie, I took my time while brushing the hair because I didn't want any hair to snag out that didn't need to, because I'm trying to make this doll as mint as possible, even though it's not looking like it's mint as possible, but you know what I'm trying to say. But I'm gonna go rinse out all these dolls and then we can move on to their styling. Ah yes, the Jack Skellington mug. You know what time it is. And if you don't know what we're doing, we're boil washing, which is when I submerge doll hair into boiling hot water, and sometimes their heads, and you know, I don't know if they have feelings, because if this is Toy Story, then I'm Sid. But after I do a dunk, I brush it out right away so it smooths it out, and yeah. Now in this clip, you can only see I'm doing Draculaura and Frankie. I did eventually do the black and white Frankie, but I was just testing the water to see if they had any glue seepage. But after all of that was done, I let them dry on a towel overnight. While those two are drying, we're going to work on this Frankie right here and restring the legs because she deserves her legs back. As I mentioned earlier, original Monster High dolls are strung with elastic, as you can see through the hole. So I'm going to be using this elastic band that I got at Michael. It's white and it should do the job because it is the proper thickness. So let's get to reattaching. I'm going to be using these tweezers here because they are going to help me poke it through the hole. And I also need some scissors, of course. So to start off, you're going to grab your first leg and weave the little elastic through. You're going to need those tweezers to be able to grab it because other than that, you're not going to be able to get it that well. I am then going to take the elastic that I just pulled through and push it through the torso. Then I'm going to cut the elastic that's still attached to the main elastic cord. Then I'm going to feed that through the torso as well. I already went ahead and put the other string through the other leg, but now all we have to do is tie these little elastic strings together as tight as possible and then cut off the excess. But now Frankie has her legs back. Moving on to the other Frankie, after letting them sit for a few hours, you can see that their hair is very gluey, so we're going to treat that today. And to do that, we're going to be using Goo Gone. I'm spraying the Goo Gone directly into the roots, and then I'm putting on some gloves because I do care about my skin sometime, and then massaging the Goo Gone into the scalp. I then put her into a bowl and left her there for a few hours. Once it was time for me to come back, it's time to rinse it out. You're going to have to do this several times. I used dish soap to do that and also a lot of conditioner. I think I did around 7 times of washing this out of her hair. But once I did, it felt a lot nicer, so I guess it was worth the headache. I then just boiled the ends real quickly so that the hair was feeling extra smooth. Now we're going to work on Draculaura staining because she has a lot of it, of course. What I'm going to be using to lift the stains is this acne cream that has 10% benzoyl peroxide. It's also going to lift the stain in the back. So basically what I'm going to be doing is globbing on the acne cream in the spots I think need the stain removal, and then wrapping it in saran wrap and placing it in direct sunlight. It did take me 4 days to do this because Vegas decided to rain out of nowhere, but you know, that's global warming for you. But after doing this 4 different times and washing it off each time, the body is literally brand new. Look at that. There's no more staining on it at all. So it definitely was worth the 4 days of treatment. So now guys, we move on to the hairstyling portion of this video. So we're going to start with black and white Frankie. Mason asked if I could give her a bump, so I'm going to do that exactly. In order to do that, I section off the front section and we're going to add a sponge under it. I get these sponges from ring sets from Hot Topic and I just mold them into plate. Once I've placed my sponge, I then grab the hair from the front and comb it upwards to make sure it's all smooth and neat, and just basically put it over the sponge. I grab a little strand from the back and then rubber band it all together. So now she has a late 2000s like little bump, and it's actually really nice. I think this is the best bump I've ever done, actually. Now we're moving on to Frankie number 2, which is Sweet Screams. She's supposed to look like that doll right there. So let's make her look like that. For starters, I'm gonna grab the hairline and a little past the ear, and we're we're going to pull that into a half up, half down. Once I did that, I'm now going to start forming the little bump that she had. So I'm going to grab her little ponytail and push it back just a smidge and rubber band it like so. Then I'm going to grab the rest of that ponytail and form the bump with an elastic. After some hairspray and gel, the bangs and the bump look a lot nicer. It took me like an hour to keep doing this, so just take your time with it and you should be really good. So after getting rid of the crud and all the staining on her face, I really did not like how the hair was looking. It felt really dry and frizzy and I just couldn't tame it no matter how much I oil washed it. So we're going to reroot her. I'm going to be using these nylon shades from Shimmerlocks. This is a Nightmare and Sugarberry. First tool I'm going to be using is my flathead to scrape out all the glue in the head. Some tweezers to get it out. I'm going to start by cutting off all of Draculaura's hair, and it is kind of fun to do this because, you know, you don't have to be careful with this. I'm then going to go in with my flathead and start scraping out all of the glue. Then with tweezers, we're going to go into the head and get all that yucky stuff out. Draculaura's hair part did kind of split, so I'm going to add some liquid fusion to that and let it dry overnight. Now that it's been several days, I'm going to show you how to reroot a doll real quickly. So you're going to grab a strand of your hair and wrap it around your finger and make sure it's even, and then you're going to pick it up with your rerouting tool. You can get these on any website. I made mine out of an X-Acto knife and a needle. Then you're going to find a hole and pluck it in. Rerouting takes a long time. I think one sitting for this took me 4 hours and an additional maybe hour and a half to do the hair parting. I was on TikTok live while I was doing it because I was just really bored and I just wanted to show people what I'm doing. So yeah, if you're on TikTok, hi. But after several hours of plucking doll hair into this head, it was time to do her hair part, and since she has pigtails, I had to do a very long one. So the way I ended up doing the part line is I did one consecutive line going all the way down, and then I did another one on the other side. And it's so weird because no matter how much hair I plucked into this, it still feels very thin, the hairline. So I don't know what happened there. After I was done with my reroot, I filled it with some fabric tack glue. This glue will not seep out like normal Monster High glue does. And I think that's because it's able to actually dry, unlike the Monster High glue. After letting Draculaura dry for at least 24 hours, I put her onto my doll stand, and now we're going to style her hair. This original doll had short little pigtails that curled up, so I'm going to mimic that as well. So I sectioned off some of the parting and put one pigtail in just to show you what it looks like. So we're going to do that on this side now. And this is going to work as our bang. So I'm wrapping the head with some saran wrap, and this will keep the bangs down when I steam it. So I cut them on the doll around butt length, and then we are going to start curling them up. So I went ahead and did one side already to show you guys what it's going to look like. So we're going to use 3 little curling rods that I have in my collection that I've never used before. So spray the hair down with some water, add a curl cream, and comb it through, and then you're going to section it off into 3 sections. Then I'm grabbing my end paper and wetting it, and then putting it around one of the strands, making sure it's all nice and smooth. Then for my roller, I'm using these ones. It is kind of like the straw method, but they're like actually plastic ones made for hair. And I pretty much roll it up a few times and then put the little end cap on, and we're good to go to do the other 2. And now that it's all done, I'm going to go set the hair with some boiling water and steam the bangs. And once I do that, I just put it in the freezer for like 10 minutes. I don't know, I always do this and it just somehow works. Now Madison does get a reroot as well. The owner requested to add some pink to the hair just to add a little color pop, so I did it in the back of her head, and I rerouted the rest in a brown color right here. Then after doing her part line and setting it with boiling water, I did add curls to her. If you'd like a curling tutorial, I'll link one down below along with the rods I'm using in this video, and we're going to go set this with some boiling water. Now I've never done it over the stove like this, so I wanted to try it just for funsies. It definitely felt strange though, I'll be 100% honest with you. And then I put her in the refrigerator as well. And guys, here's how Madison turned out. I think she looks amazing. I wasn't sure about the color when I was rerouting her, but honestly, I love it. I love the pink peekaboo on the bottom. I'm gonna separate the curls a little more before I ship it off, but I really love her. I really wish I could keep her. Speaking of dolls I wish I could keep, this Draculaura, her hair literally almost looks like the promo pictures. One curl is just kind of turning in the wrong way, but oh my god, I really did that. The only thing I would really change about this doll is the bangs, really. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the very first episode of the Doll Spa. Sorry it's up a little late. It's supposed to be at 12, but it's, you know, coming up a little late. I'm sorry. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys would like a chance to be one of the Doll Spa clients for the next month, the email is on the screen. All you gotta do is show me a picture of your doll that's in need of some help and the story that it means to you. And I'll pick next month's winners on Sunday. So if you guys want to enter for the next month, go ahead and do it now while you can. If this is your first time watching my channel, hi, my name is Jay and I do doll stuff. Duh. And I'd love you to join the channel. And guys, I will see you in the next video. But till then, bye.